With a new Pokemon game, naturally comes new Pokemon, and ever since Pokemon Sun and Moon, we've always received new regional variant Pokemon as a part of that. So with that in mind, it's pretty likely that we'll see some new regional variants in Pokemon Legends ZA as well, which is obviously very exciting. What kinds of regional forms could we see though, and what could they look like? Well, that is what this video is all about, so let's get into it. As the Order Pokemon, it's clear that Zygarde is going to play a central role in Pokemon Legends ZA, and you can help restore Order just like Zygarde by picking up the adorable plushie of my mascot Folkachi. For a limited time, with every purchase of this soft, squishy little guy, a tree will be planted through the Eden Reforestation Projects, which plants trees and helps to provide jobs planting and maintaining those trees in the communities in which they serve, supporting local people and combating climate change all at the same time. Additionally, picking up one of these super high quality plushies supports the channel immensely too, so I can keep making videos for you guys and keep doing more fun stuff just like this. So it helps out a ton on so many levels and is extremely appreciated. Not to mention, the plush is amazing and soft and very, very wonderful. You can pick one up right now at histrobishop.com with the link in the description below. Again, that is histrobishop.com. Hit that link in the description to pick one up and do some good while you're at it, and a massive thank you to everyone who has grabbed one so far. Alrighty, so we're going to start things off with Magcargo. Magcargo is a pretty good candidate in my opinion to receive a regional variant in Legends ZA for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a snail, and we all know how well known France is for their snails and the fact that they eat them, so there's a bit of a tie between this Pokemon and the Kalos region already. This is especially so because number two, Magcargo uses the word escargot in its name, which is the French word for snail. So again, it's already got the French vibes going on. So Magcargo would definitely make for a great Kalosian form Pokemon, and if it got one, this is what it might look like. Shout out to my man Oscar Belmonte for drawing the designs you will see in this video, and as always, you can check him out with the links in the description. Getting into Kalosian Magcargo though, it is a fire-water type, and it has become so because it is based on a freshwater snail as opposed to a land snail, and along with its magma origins is also based around the idea of underwater volcanoes, to help tie all of these concepts together even more. That is why it has the new shell that it does, since it both resembles a volcano as well as the spiral-shaped shells that some freshwater snails have. It also has steam coming out of the top of its shell as well to mimic the smoke of a volcano, and also to tie those fire and water types together once more within the design. I also made this Magcargo fire-water type because, simply put, it's just cool. We only have one fire-water type to this point in Volcanion, who ironically was also introduced in Kalos, and it is an awesome type combo. So since there was a way with this Pokemon that it could actually feasibly work, I decided to go for it. And while Magcargo has technically appeared in Kalos before in its regular form in X and Y, it doesn't seem like that should really matter too much, because the same sort of thing has also happened with some of the Hisuian forms in Legends Arceus, like Quillfish for example, and that obviously didn't stop them from getting regional variants. So the different timeline placement of these games seems to effectively eliminate our need to worry about that. I think Kalosian Magcargo overall would be a great variant to see in Legends ZA, as not only would it fit in great as I said, but there's also the potential there for it to get a really cool design just like this one. This next Pokemon has not been seen in the Kalos region though, which could naturally provide an opening for it to receive a Kalosian form, and that Pokemon is Gumshoos. I've chosen Gumshoos to highlight here because it is part of the Route 1 rodent group of Pokemon, and these Pokemon have sort of created a pattern within themselves where they also get dark normal-type regional variants, which we've seen with Rattata and Zigzagoon. So there's a bit of a precedent here for Colossian Gumshoos to be a thing, and for it to also be a dark normal type, but additionally, Gumshoos is also based on a detective, and the stereotypical Gumshoe detective has a very European vibe to it. In fact, there was even a Frenchman named Eugene Francois Vidocq who is more or less considered to be the father of modern detective work, and is also regarded as the first private detective. So a Colossian Gumshoos honestly has all the reason in the world to exist, quite frankly. And this particular design, while not really intentional to be honest, even reflects Vidocq as well, since Eugene Francois Vidocq was actually a criminal himself before he eventually became the renowned detective that he is known to be. So again, Colossian Gumshoos could definitely be a thing, and this exact kind of design would even work perfectly as well. Vidocq was even in the process of getting his act together and becoming a member of law enforcement during the early 1800s, which isn't that far off from Legends ZA's likely time frame. So, to be honest, it would not surprise me at all if this Mon, or something very close to it, actually became a thing in Legends ZA. And of all the regional forms in this video, I would have to say that this one is probably the most likely. And now we have what I would consider to be the fun one of this group in Colossian Haxorus. While looking at what's likely to happen always makes sense in these kinds of scenarios, it also makes sense to create a variant simply because it would be really cool. Because we all play Pokemon to have fun at the end of the day, and a design like this would be very fun in my opinion. However, that's not to say that it doesn't belong here though, because it actually fits in quite well in Kalos in a sort of roundabout type of way. First off, it is a Dragon Steel type, because it's essentially doubling down on the whole Axe inspiration that Haxorus has going on. This, in turn, is actually due to the Kalos region itself, as not only does an Axe Pokemon fit in very well in a European region due to all of the medieval war history that's there, which naturally included some Axes, but the Kalos region in particular is actually all about Axes, or should I say Axes, as in the X-axis and the Y-axis that Pokemon X and Y were partially named after as the first 3D Pokemon games. So yeah, Colossian Haxorus is basically a dad joke Pokemon, but dang it, I think that's pretty clever at the same time, and I think that would be plenty enough of a reason for it to get into Legends ZA. So while Haxorus doesn't necessarily have any direct French ties, like you could argue that the other two Pokemon of this video do, it is also an Axe Dragon, which is about as European as it gets on top of the whole Axis pun, so I think it would fit great in Kalos as a Colossian form in Legends ZA, and would also be a super cool Pokemon to get that treatment too, which is as good of a reason as any, in my opinion. Which of these do you think has the best shot of getting into Legends ZA though, and what other Pokemon do you want to see get regional forms? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, be sure to grab a Folkachi plush with the link in the description below. It's a super cool piece of merch, it supports the channel immensely, and for a limited time, as I said earlier, every purchase also plants a tree as well, so it's a pretty sweet deal. With that said, I'll be back very soon with another new video, and until then, as always, thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.